Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Book in the Territory Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people and my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is the one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
To this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where today we're going to be talking NWA WCW Saturday Night on TBS from December the 5th, 1987. We are nearing the end of the year, only a few weeks to go before we turn the page into 1988. I'm sitting here with Hard Body Harper and not Doc Turner. If you heard him on the Patron episode, you will know that Lance is making his NWA show debut tonight. He's popping his cherry, I guess you can say. So, Harper, you got to be nice. Don't,
yeah.
You know,
at least the first 5 minutes, at least.
Yeah, well, whatever, bro. You trying to take his spot? That's what this is. So, like, you're like the fake Diesel.
The fake Diesel.
Yeah.
Oh,
the fake Darren.
Right.
Shemp of the Three Stooges.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to take his spot, dog.
I'm an acquired taste. I'm just an acquired taste.
Like Steve Young taking Joe Montana's spot.
Well, Steve Young won a Lombardi, so I mean, I guess that's not really a bad thing.
Whatever. He won one.
Well, it's more than you won.
Oh, no, Brady took over for Bernie Kosar.
Who was that?
Brady took over.
No, he didn't.
No, that was
who was
Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe. Yeah, Bledsoe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lance is the Danny White that's taken over for Roger Staubach.
That's the worst. Fucking Danny White. That is such shit. That's the worst. Nice. I'll take anything else.
I told you.
Man,
all right, so we're going to...
You got people here at local radio. They're so Danny White, got hard-ons for Danny White. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, we know you were a Staubach fan because that was about your prime time as a kid. All right. Let's keep the show moving. We'll try not to talk over each other because we're not used to working as a trio yet, but we'll make the best of this situation. I personally will enjoy having Lance here since he's always on the World Class shows with me every other week when we take 2 episodes of World Class, sometimes 3 episodes of World Class, and we dive into them on the Patreon side of things at tinyurl.com/Patreon BTT. The man knows his World Class history. Let's just leave it at that. He is an expert, and there's no other way to say it. I don't know anyone who knows as much about that territory than he does. So as we get rolling, as always, special shout out to our largest patron contributors monthly, Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, at K_row86, and Mike Childry. Thank you for your patronage. We appreciate it. And then I got to mention a couple of things because we made a new Patreon announcement last week at the end of the show, and I just want to say welcome to all the new patrons out there that signed up on Patreon. Tommy Thibodeau, J.R. Randall, Chris Cepeda, Damon Wilson, longtime listener Chris Cepeda at that, so thank you for signing up. Kenny Beiersdorf, he is actually in the BTT Hall of Fame now. Kenny, remind me when you get to your 7th month, and I'll make sure your first t-shirt is on the way. Clifton Harris, longtime listener, he moved over from Podbean to Patreon. And then we had a bunch of people bump up to the $5 tier so that they could get the Jim Crockett Promotions pay-per-views and Clash of Champions as we roll into 1988 and Jim Crockett Promotions in the NWA. Big J Sampson, Kristen E. Bolin, Jason Ward, Will Harkey, William Bozard, Patrick Wagner, Ted Henschel, and Kevin Mathers all bumped up their Patreon level so that they could get the Clashes of the Champions and the Jim Crockett Promotions NWA WCW pay-per-views we are about to get into in 1988. So thank you very much. Harper, I usually throw it at Doc and ask him if he's got some kind of spotlight, some kind of, you know how he is. He likes to, he does his spot monkey shit every episode, right? So,
yeah.
Do you want to spot monkey it up for everybody, or you don't have anything?
Well, today's Doc-A-Holic is going to be Steven Jaworski. How about that?
I feel like Steven Jaworski gets it every week, even without getting it. Okay. Lance, Steven is a longtime listener, a patron of the show. Harper's got some kind of. Okay, Harper's got some kind of weird infatuation with the man. I mean, do you need Steven to come crank you off one like happened in Abducted in Plain Sight, Harper?
Look, man, I can't stand my wife. I haven't got laid in a while, and could you relieve me in a form of masturbation?
That's nice, Harper. Jesus. Have you seen that documentary, Lance? Abducted in Plain Sight?
No.
Oh, yeah, okay. Bro. You should watch it.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay.
It's on Netflix.
Netflix, yeah. I see it a week or two. It's been out a couple of weeks now?
About a month or so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We just did a patron episode on it, and good God, I don't know if there's anything else to say other than to listen to it if you're a patron. And if you're not one, become one at tinyurl.com/Patreon BTT. Harper, you were a lot milder than I thought you would be on that episode. I thought you would really light up into those parents.
I didn't want y'all, I'll just let y'all get y'all shit in.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Lance, anything you want to mention before we get into the main part of the show where we're going to talk some NWA here?
No, I'll just sit back and try to throw stuff in where I can, where I fit in.
All right. So, Harper, be nice. Jesus Christ. Doc doesn't even... Well, Doc, I don't even want to talk about why Doc's not here. If you're wondering, let's just say LaFonda, Mrs. Doc, put her foot down, and we're just going to leave it at that, okay? He may miss 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're really not sure at this point, but... this ought to tell you who runs the ship over there and is steering that somebody.
That's nice.
It's a fact too. Anyway, all right, let's jump in. So again, we are doing. It is December 5th, 1987. Like I said, only this is the one of 4 more weeks in December of '87 that we'll be doing. They open up the show. They are in the Miami Convention Center, Miami Beach, Florida. Harper asked me pre-show if this sucker was still open. I have no idea.
Yeah, but, it's still there.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
It's Larry Zbyszko versus Barry Windham. Larry and Barry are wrestling at the start, and then they cut to the opening, and then they go straight back to the Miami Convention Center where Zbyszko and Windham are joined in progress with Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross on commentary. So I guess I'll ask Harper first question, and then you too, Lance. Harper, did you notice who the referee was in that match?
Yeah. And they say his name a couple of times.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, it seemed like they showed them. Said the names a lot more now. You never hear the refs' names now.
Right. They're just stormtroopers in the background.
Good one. Yeah.
No, I mean that's basically it. You never hear. I mean, like we know who the refs are. Most like Mike Chioda, and we know some of their names, but they don't make it a point. Like I could think of Mid-South and even in World Class with Bill Mercer. I mean, they would say David Manning and Bronco Lubitsch's names 100 times an episode.
Yeah, so for sure.
Lance, any thoughts on the opening as we keep moving?
No, I think this was filmed a couple of days earlier, but, aired on that Saturday the 5th. That's Zbyszko's 36th birthday. He'd been around a while.
Yeah, they said 11 years.
Yeah, they did. They did say that about that. Yeah. They sure did. But, he turned 36. And then, just Barry, he's just – I did appreciate him at the time. Some guys I didn't appreciate at the time. And I'd just seen these guys at a house show. He's just, one of the top guys right there. It's just his knees just start going on him. He's about to turn heel right here. Not on this episode.
Right. So we've been talking about this on the show the last few weeks. We talk about how Barry was mismanaged. At least we felt he was as 87 rolled on. And Lance, I know you haven't been watching week by week, so it may be hard. But earlier in the year in '87, Barry was in a feud with Flair, and then as we get a shot of Barry's ass, Jesus, we're watching it as we're talking here. But Barry was he was really hot at the beginning of '87. how much do you remember of him during like mid '87 up until now, Lance?
Oh, I was watching it all. I just wasn't into that Western Heritage belt at all. That I never, and I'm not that big into Zbyszko. I definitely wasn't big into Zbyszko at this time. I was okay with him in Nitro, but I was, everybody's got their guys. They don't care. I just, never cared for him. I'd seen him in early '83 on TBS. He was good with the national title and Killer Brooks and all that, but I wasn't into this era at all. Of Zbyszko.
Yeah, me either. But Barry, I agree that Western States Heritage, we've talked about it ad nauseum, how it's like we just kind of thought, Barry was floundering and not really doing much, even though he had that title. I think actually the turn we'll see in a few months or so is probably worthwhile. But this ends up being a pretty long match. Jim Ross, he made it feel bigger than what it was, but the crowd wasn't really into it, in my opinion. It ends up being a time limit draw. Barry had Zbyszko to sleeper, but time expired. Harper, I wanted to throw it to you because we've talked about when they go to the live arenas and whatnot. Didn't it seem like whenever they're like in the Mid-Atlantic area that the crowds are much more lively than they were in this one?
Yeah, man, I love these shows. This was almost it would be like watching a Saturday night's main event or something. When you got a treat like this with these fucking shows,
when they're live, and I say live, we know this wasn't live.
Right.
Like said, it was recorded a few days before, but where they're actually out in a venue of some sort, and there's actually a crowd. My thing was the Miami fans are a lot quieter than you find, when they were in those Mid-Atlantic towns. Is what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, like Miami, it's a whole different. Those were like southern towns and along the coast. Miami is a whole different. It's like a New Orleans. It has its own different personality.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like Charlotte. If you compare Jacksonville to Charlotte, the only difference is, Charlotte has, a different football team.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
Lance, any thoughts on the match at all? Is like I said, it ends at a time limit draw. We had a sleeper put on at the very end of it.
No, there's not much, and the crowd is there's my phone. I didn't turn that down. The crowd is kind of on their hands for it, so no big deal. But it's really great to have that as their first match. And they pump up this Hayes Flair match the whole show, and then about halfway through they say, if we've got time to show the whole thing and stuff. They really screw you on that. But it's cool to see Barry going at it, and pretty much a main event right here at the first match, because the rest of the stuff is nothing.
Yeah, they put the boots to us at the end, man. We get the shaft when it comes to that. We got a raw end of the deal there. But all right, so like we said, it ends with the sleeper, but it ends up in a time limit draw, so time expires. They then go to the studio, and not the studio, but it's JR and Shivani. They officially open the show, and we have they got Sting with them. Sting is out there challenging Flair, and he begged him for a title shot and beating his chest. And man called Sting. I know Harper's thoughts on Sting. Lance, we haven't had you on here before. Did you like Sting during this era, or were you
a teenager? I mean, I turned 18 this week in '87. That's okay. And plus, he's freaking huge. I mean, his shoulders and biceps are. It's so crazy because I hadn't seen him built, in years back these tapes, and man, he is built crazy. There's some kind of creepy cop that's standing behind him, starts pushing and moving the fans. This guy just boxes up.
Yeah,
look at this guy in the shades.
He doesn't look real.
Not at all. Not at all. And there's another instant where he starts pushing those guys back, and then halfway through the show, they change to another security guard that stands back there. But I wouldn't let that guy.
You just shoved that dude out the way.
It looks like I wouldn't let my sister near that guy.
What's this Barney Fife looking motherfucker? Yeah, I didn't catch it when I was watching it the first time because I was sitting there like I was thinking I didn't know Doc wasn't gonna make it when I first took notes on this. I'm like, man, Doc's gonna bury this freaking promo with Sting, but no, you got this cop. What is this cop? He's acting like he's got to. There's actually a barricade right there, and he's acting like he's got to keep people back. They're not even touching him. Look at him. Oh, this toy rent-a-cop, but look at that redneck back there.
Get back! There goes some fucking Wilbur looking asshole.
Look at Look at that dude with the trucker hat. Holy shit. Okay.
I didn't realize they had so many shirts back then for the guys.
It started in 86, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw a Dusty shirt, a Flair shirt, and some other shirt. It had 3 people in it. That was a Midnight shirt.
I didn't see, but I know they had Baby Doll actually had a shirt in 87. They had a Flair shirt, they had a Dusty shirt, they had a Magnum shirt in 87 because I remember the commercial. This is where I'm getting this. I remember the commercial vividly. And then by this point, I mean, there were rock and roll shirts, I think. So that may have been what you saw, but yeah, there were a bunch of shirts. What were you about to say, Lance?
Yeah, on the back of the After magazines, there was the Four Horsemen with the Lex version. And so this is that time period where, they're all in sweatshirts that say Four Horsemen. You can buy all kinds of Four Horsemen gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the Lex version of Four Horsemen.
They might have had merch, Harper, but they were still behind WWF.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they didn't have toys and lunch boxes.
Yeah.
And fucking, Ric Flair sleeping bags and shit.
Christmas ornaments.
Right.
Yeah, all that good stuff. All right, so we move on from Sting and we go to Barbarian and Warlord with Ivan Koloff and Paul Jones, who defeat Jack Towers and Robbie Idol. As always, we never really give much commentary on the enhancement talent matches. Harper, did you have anything from this?
No.
Lance, it was a beat.
Now that's the first time you've seen them, though. That's what I was, that was the first time they're on TBS. Have
first
y'all
time
seen
who was
them?
on TBS?
That the Powers of Pain. Now that's what I read. This episode. Have y'all been seeing them?
Yeah, they've been.
Yeah,
they've been in the studio. This isn't their first.
That's funny. I read that it was first time, and also that this was Jim Ross's first time hosting. Have y'all been seeing him?
Now it is JR's first time if you don't count Starrcade '87 because he did Starrcade '87 with Shivani, but it's JR's first time actually doing the actual Saturday night show, even though they're not in the studio. Now,
are they called the Powers of Pain here? No, huh?
No, that's what I was gonna say. They haven't called them that yet. But Harper, they've been on for like 3-4 weeks now, right?
Yeah, because I mean, they did that big 4-way match that we watched last week with like Wilbur and all of them.
Oh my, that bullshit. That
Yep.
Yeah, so it wasn't their debut. Now they hadn't been in that long, Lance. They had only been in for a little while.
Oh, Paul Jones. I don't know how he was such a star in the 70s and then cuts promos like this. I mean, I just, I'd have to be 10 years older and have seen it in person because I just never understood the guy at all.
Yeah.
Because it's just horrible.
I think in 86, with his the Island of Misfit Toys with his army when he had Shaska, that was okay. Actually, it was better than okay. I actually enjoyed it what they did with him and Boogie and Jimmy Valiant and all that. But I didn't see him at his peak. But everyone that I know that did see him at his peak as a wrestler, they just sing his praises. So like my problem is I never saw him as that. So I know we got a bunch of listeners out there who did. And they enjoyed him. So it's like one of those things where if you just never saw it, it's kind of hard to picture it. So, but Harper loves his promos, don't you, Harper?
Yeah, right. No, it's almost like it's like he has shit on somebody, and that's why they keep him around.
Good call. That's exactly right.
Damn. Oh, man,
I'm just saying.
Oh shit! I hear you, bro. I hear you. All right, we'll keep going. So after the promo that we saw with Barbarian Warlord, and I want to correct myself. Well, I said they came in. I know they were. I know like they had been there for a while. I don't mean they just came in. I'm saying that they're showing them as a team for within the last month. So they go to Ronnie Garvin. Not going to play it, but Garvin did say something true right there. He said during his promo, when football teams lose, they don't just pack it up. They regroup and they go after the title again, and that's what he's going to do. That's all I had from this. Harper, did you have anything?
No. It's just big. It's, a Stampede promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lance, anything from you on this?
No, I'd been drinking the Ron Garvin Kool-Aid for a long time, but I didn't think he should have gotten a title. But you didn't know anybody else at the time. We didn't have these groups to know that everybody else was thinking the same thing. I just thought, well, whatever, he's got the title, but I just don't feel like he's a NWA, title guy. But it didn't come out until the internet age that we all agreed.
None of us knew shit back then. I mean,
wasn't it great?
Yeah, it actually was. Cause we got the PWIs and we could read those and knew what was going on. But when it came to the booking decisions and stuff, and I always say that we're always critical of WWE, and look, I know they deserve it a lot of times, but there's something to be said that in 1987 or 86, 85, 84, 83, even the late 80s and early 90s, we would watch that stuff and we just didn't have a critical eye. We just watched it for the entertainment of it and to watch two guys fight. And I don't know, man. Sometimes I think we were better off that way. Do you agree, Harper?
Yes, man. I mean, why should it's? I don't want to know what a booker is. I don't want to know all these little terms and all this shit.
Right, because it kind of ruins it for us.
It does ruin it. It's almost like you go to a magic show and you see the strings and you see the person fall through the trap door and they really didn't disappear, and it fucking ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when people ask me a question with modern terms and they're talking about world class, and I'm saying, well, I didn't look at it that way when I was 14. I wasn't, I didn't care anything, but I just cared about what I liked. I wasn't looking at the rest of the crowd and what they cared about or work rate. I was just, into the whole frenzy of it.
Well,
made it a lot simpler.
I'll give you a perfect example, Lance. You and I have talked about this on the Patreon shows. We were talking about world class, and there's been multiple times where both of us go, you see Gordy calling that spot? You can clearly hear him on the video tell Kevin or Carrie or whoever what's going on and what to do. You literally hear the spot call. We didn't even catch that stuff back then. We just...
Yeah.
It's we were watching for the fight and we didn't even think... I'm guessing we heard something, but we didn't even put two and two together to think, oh, he just said, tackle, drop down, hip toss. I mean, we didn't even, we're not even listening, but you watch it back, you go, he's calling the spot. So that's the stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, that one where we have Kamala, Junkyard Dog telling Kamala what to do next while they're in the headlock, and he growls at him and says, "Answer me." He doesn't know if Kamala heard him to call the next spot. It's funny stuff.
Yeah, so that's a good example. So sometimes I just wish, sometimes we probably should just try to watch current stuff, even though it won't happen, and just try to just watch it without being so critical of every little thing. I'm serious, man. I think that's part of it. But we will keep the show moving because we got Dr. Death, who defeats Jerry Gray, who, hey, if you are not aware, Jerry continues to fight cancer, and please donate to his GoFundMe. I know he's been on the 605 a million times at this point. I'm exaggerating here, but please help Jerry out if you can, as he struggles with cancer. He's not doing well these days. But Dr. Death defeats Jerry. When I got to this point, again, I was like, the crowd is just kind of sitting on their hands. They're not just, you can kind of watch them. They're not doing too much. But anyway, Harper, anything from this match?
No, he's a good jobber.
Jerry Gray was
yeah.
Jerry Gray, no, he was good, man. He's
got good facials.
And so you've probably never seen him in Mid-South because nothing he did here was shocking to me. It was he put Doc over. He did what he had to do, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
With the fucking leapfrog.
Yeah, Jerry was good, man.
There you go.
A lot of people don't realize that about him that hadn't seen him, but and actually, Lance, he's coming up on some of the world class shows we're about to do. Yeah,
those that filmed at North Texas. Yeah, I cover those.
He's on that card a couple of times. He works a couple of matches. So no, Jerry was good, man. He was a solid talent, and I got to see him in Mid-South in the mid '80s, and solid talent. He puts over Dr. Death here. Lance, anything else from this?
No, in a Southern wrestling as I am, I'm not the Mr. Dr. Death fan at all. I think there's a reason he didn't get over more in the United States. You can't deny Japan, but he's great. And I think this interview he does is fantastic. And right after that interview, he was in the back and Crockett said, "Oh, you're fixing to go to Japan? Let me just hold that belt for you a while." That would basically he's fixing to go to Japan, and they're going to retire that belt while he's gone and stuff.
Sure
but yeah, he's not long for it at all.
Yeah,
a lot of things going on right here. Once I saw the time period we were into, I was like, okay, this is pretty good time for, because there's a lot of changes going on in right here between November and February 87, 88.
Yeah, the
he's the last champion.
Yeah. Like about 3 more weeks. Basically, the end of December, they kept it going. They filmed more. They were still filming UWF episodes through the end of the year, but he goes to Japan, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, there are a few episodes. They filmed it all the way through, but yeah, it's about to disappear. I actually think Nikita, because if you remember, Nikita's got both belts right now. I think next week he's got both of them still, but I think the week after that he only shows up at the TV taping with, I think, the one, if my memory's correct. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
but,
I was into that though. I was into that. I can remember being into Nikita versus Taylor. They're going to unify that. I don't know. It seemed kind of cool with all those guys coming in.
Yeah, and they just didn't do anything with them. We actually did a Patron show on that, Doc and I, where we rebooked it. It wasn't the greatest booking, but we think we improved upon it as we have no money in the game and whatnot. But anyway, so again, I wasn't going to play Doc's promo here, but, he puts over Barry, and then he talks about the bunkhouse stampedes they're going to be on. He finishes it by saying, if I get in the ring with you, we're not friends anymore, which is how it should be. Harper, anything from this?
It wasn't too bad, but it's. I thought it was funny at the end when he was like, "We're not gonna be friends anymore."
Right.
Like it's little kids fighting over fucking baseball cards or something.
I agree. It was the way he said it was rather interesting.
And
Lance,
these cops in the background.
Yeah,
they look fucking scummy. Look at this asshole.
I think that guy drives a van.
I told you that one on the right is this Barney Fife looking motherfucker, man.
And then that guy there,
he's picking his nose.
Picking his fucking nose. You ought to get him on the fucking podcast.
No, it's okay. Let's keep moving.
If it was world class, they'd be lighting up cigarettes the whole time.
They sure would. You can see them on some of the tapes
all day long. Man.
They're smoking while they're working.
They're lighting at the pin. There's a pin, and they're lighting the cigarette as there's a pinfall, and they're fixing to take the guy up the aisle. They're no sweat.
The 80s. Sting defeats Bob Cook here in I won't say record time, but he defeats him. It is what it is. He uses the Scorpion Deathlock, I believe. At least on the Saturday night show, this is the first time we see him use that. Lance, did you have anything from the match?
There's a shitty crossbody in there, and I almost think he pulls him up and extends the match. Oh, there's my guy taking pictures out of the ring. You'll see him in a second. Weird looking.
Do it with the thumb.
Yeah, go back 1 second. Anyways, it almost was like they extended that match because it was such a shitty crossbody in the middle of it. But he's probably meant to use the Scorpion. So yeah. Oh, his son works. His son works in a suburb here in Dallas in retail. And it's funny because I hadn't seen Sting. I haven't gone back and seen these, but seeing his short hair, his son looks exactly like him. And I just wonder where he works in the retail in Dallas. I bet 1 million people go in and see him at work every day and don't realize that they know who his dad is. It's pretty, I always thought that was pretty funny.
I would agree.
Yeah.
They have no clue. Just look at it, just walk in and just think some average dude, and have no clue who his dad is. Yeah. What were you about to say, Harper, about the match or anything?
Didn't that's the kid that played football at Kentucky?
Two of them. So I'm not sure which one. Garrett works is the one I'm talking about, but I think the other one was the better football player.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. Big boys. They're big, clean cut, but they're stout. They're tall, big.
All right, well, let's keep going. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, big guy. Real nice, though. Kind of guy, smile. I've seen the guy coming out, going to his lunch hour when I was going in there and stuff. So, it's a retail place that everybody goes all the time.
We will, speaking of big, as Lance and Harper are talking about big guys. They like it big, everyone.
We like it.
Real big. Harper, Man, my wife's been kind of stingy with that stuff lately, man. You think you can help me out and crank one off, man?
Yeah, well, just, just keep it between us. It's just kid stuff, right?
when that dude said it was just kid stuff, he was like, it's just kid stuff. What? God damn. Okay, no, let's keep going. So we got the Road Warriors out here. Let's hear what they got to say. Now, keep in mind, there's this thing they're building with them and Paul Jones's army.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Jones said he has the strongest team in wrestling. I think he's crazy because you see it right here. The mighty Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal.
No, David Crockett hit the nail right on the head. Paul Jones, Barbarian Warlord, listen up. All over this country, we have proved ourselves to everybody in the world. We always said, we don't care, and we ain't gonna start now. We know, you know, everybody in the world knows. Right here, the Hawk and the Animal. We're the strongest guys in professional wrestling, and don't you ever forget it. Tell them, Hawk. Well, life is a many splendored thing. Or is it? Well, it can be if you stay out of our way, but it won't be if you get in our way. Now, there's a lot of people making claims that they're the strongest, they're the biggest, they're the best, that they're the champions. But nobody has ever proved that to us in the squared circle, the four corners of doom, as we like to call it. And everybody knows why we call it the four corners of doom. When they get in there with us, they don't have to question that. The Legion of Doom was put on Earth for one stinking thing, and that is to rid the wrestling world of all the so-called greatest and strongest. We don't have to make that claim. The people aren't stupid. They know. So quit insulting them, Paul Jones, and tell them the truth. Precious Paul, take it away. David Crockett,
All right, I'm going to turn it down because when Animal starts cutting a promo on Paul Jones's new army, I was like, man, the Warriors are going to murder these dudes. Warlord and Barbarian are two big son of a guns, but man, the Warriors are going to kill these guys. Harper, you first. Thoughts?
Yeah, because, I know watching this, you might think, damn, these guys could, they can go toe-to-toe with the fucking Road Warriors. When you look at the Barbarian and the Warlord.
Yeah, they come off. Yeah, I know what you're saying. They're
right.
Pretty huge. Man, what a freaking roster at the time. Gee whiz, Road Warriors, Sting, all those guys. Man, top to the bottom.
They were loaded, but business wasn't doing all that great. It was starting to go down, which is...
Yeah, there was nobody at that reunion show I saw in September a couple months earlier than this. It was just freaking empty.
So Lance was at a JCP card in September of this year. So this is as they're building up to Starrcade. Lance, tell everybody how many people Reunion held for wrestling and how many people were at that card.
Yeah, for world class shows, you're getting 16 to 18,000, and there were 3,000. And I don't remember it being filmed, but that people say they even see it on TV, and you can see that there's empty. In fact, they're saying that it's reported 3,000, and there couldn't have been but 1,600. And you can see in my pictures, it's like the house lights are up on Reunion Arena, and you can see all the empty seats. And it was Flair and Garvin and Ron Simmons and Black Bart. And I think it was Dr. Death and Black Bart, and Michael Hayes in a tag match with your boy Tim Horner. But it was just empty, and it looks worse because all the lights were up, and nothing was tarped off.
So again, 1,600 people in an 18,000 arena building for wrestling, and then so I went to one in March or April of '87 in. It had to be Lakefront Arena, and there couldn't have been, I don't know, 750 people there maybe.
Why did it drop off like that? It was just booking?
You've been watching it?
Yeah, but, as a kid, I would still want to go see this. What's up, girl?
It's a couple of mistakes.
Remember fucking there. Beauty and the Beast, the fucking TV show?
Yes.
Jesus, that's what she looked like.
You're gonna have to explain that. You're gonna have to explain that to the people who aren't watching on Patreon. You're gonna have to explain.
See, David Coverdale. David Coverdale.
Yeah, for real.
Whitesnake video.
Harper, you know I have no clue who you're talking about.
Okay, well, there was a show, like I guess it was the late '80s. It was a Beauty and the fucking Beast show.
I remember that show. I'm talking about whoever the Whitesnake person is you're talking about.
Oh, it's he was the lead singer for Whitesnake.
Yeah, Tawny Kitane's husband.
Yeah, and her hair looks, dude, that's all over the place, bro.
She's from Poison.
That's 1980s for you right there.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, that's like smoking hot back then.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, hell yeah. That hair, yeah.
What's up, girl?
All right, we'll keep moving. Harper, do you have any other thoughts on the Road Warriors in that promo?
No, I guess they're gonna beat the crap out the Barbarian and a Warlord, huh?
Well, I'm trying to remember how that angle finished, or even if it did.
They left because they didn't want to do the scaffold matches.
That's what I thought. I was trying to remember if that's what happened. They go to WWF, right?
Yeah, and so Ivan brings in Minnesota Wrecking or whatever he called the Enos and Mean Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom. He puts them in mask and they do the scaffold matches.
That's right.
The Road Warriors.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't want to do the scaffold match. Cornette told me that too. They didn't want to do the scaffold message. So we're not going to see too much. I forget when they leave, but I don't think we're going to see too much more of it because it's leading up into. I mean, we're already at the end of the year. And even Cornette told me, he's like, they told those guys to do the scaffold matches, Warlord and Barbarian, and Cornette was like, man, he's like, those guys were too big to be falling off of some fucking scaffold, man.
I think it's a smart move. I mean, and they went up there. I'm sure they made more money signing up there. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, smart on their part. Okay, so if we go to the next match, which has been going on, we've been watching it for a while. It's Stan Lane. He defeats Kendall Windham. So Harper, Stan is back in Florida, as we know. This is where he was, where he was. I'll just say he's having fun when he was in Florida, when he was living there in Miami. I predict that Stan banged 4 broads before the match. Then he went and took a shower and banged 4 more after. And Lord knows what he banged that night and the next morning. During the match, Corny is talking about the fans, basically calling them genetic defects, as he always does. Corny also says that Stan and Bobby are wrestling in singles matches because they want to prove that they can be singles champions and possibly beat Dusty for the U.S. title. So that explains why they are in singles matches. But Cornette hits Windham with the racket near the end. Windham is counted out on the outside, and Wallace Stanfield Lane wins. Lance, you got anything from the match?
Yeah, I need Stan Lane to show me some of those karate moves that are so dangerous. They look like shit.
Oh, Stan.
I like him. I mean, he can talk. He's funny and stuff. It's just watching those. They're pushing that, his karate kicks and stuff, and it's kind of weak.
Fake Stan Lane. His name is at SMU Heavyweight on Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. Cornette whacked Windham right there. Harper, any thoughts from you on this?
I tell you, the crowd was hot when they start throwing shit, crap in the ring at the end of this.
They finally came alive. It is kind of what I was thinking. Like, they finally got, a little bit bass in their voice during this thing. Because before it was, I don't know. It was just, they just weren't alive, if you ask me. But, look, see, there it goes. They just threw something in the ring. And they're tossing paper and trash. That's great. Yeah. All right, we'll keep going. Let me get to the timestamp.
I figure you're going to see Fonzie refereeing from now on because he's going to be there through Elegante. He'll leave when Elegante goes to WWF as kind of Elegante's handler. Like that, what's his name? The referee White in WWF. He kind of went around with Andre. That's what Fonzie would do with Elegante.
All right, let's go now to Tony Schiavone, who's going to throw it to Dusty Rhodes. The Bull in the Woods, moo. Okay, you'll know what I'm talking about shortly.
Bob Dylan hat.
Here we go.
Jim, thank you very much. As you heard before on this program, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, committed to being in the Bunkhouse Stampede. He is the only Bunkhouse champion 2 times. The 3rd annual Bunkhouse Stampede well underway, and let's hear from the man in charge, the Bunkhouse Stampede champion, Dusty Rhodes.
Man in charge.
This is Dusty Rhodes, the American dream, the buckle, the boot, the prestige, the money of the Bunkhouse Stampede. Being the baddest of the bad, being the bull of the woods, if you will. 25, 30 men stampeded into one little bitty ring, you understand, with one thing in mind, to hurt somebody, to kick somebody's booty, to twist their arm off and put their ankles up in the chin. And many mornings I got up dwelling on the fact of being the 2-time winner of the Bunkhouse Stampede. How am I going to do it this year, when last year I had to feel around, see if my nose was still on my face. Look up in the morning and see if my ears were still on my head. My eyeballs in the socket were playing steady on my mind, because I knew Dusty Rhodes has to be the Bunkhouse Stampede champion for the 3rd time. If you will, for your hockey fans, it's a hat trick. You understand? It's a hat trick. And Dusty Rhodes now comes at you with this in mind. Anywhere, any place that on the marquee you see the National Wrestling Alliance presents the Bunkhouse Stampede, if you want to just feel a little bit of how bad it is to be the baddest, to be the bull of the woods, then and only then, buy your ticket, walk in and sit down and watch Dusty Rhodes become the bull of the woods.
Is that a chicken foot?
Jesus
over in his hat.
That's what it looked like.
It does. It looks like a chicken foot. So he can't go after the. He's not going after the world title anymore. He's gotten old. He's only going to have a few more title matches, and finally not anymore. After February of '88. So this kind of is his new title, being the Bunkhouse champ.
Well, he's already won the first 2 though.
Yeah, so he's, I don't even know where this one ends up and stuff, but yeah.
Oh, I do.
Where?
Harper. Part of the new Patreon thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do the JCP pay-per-views in next year in January. So we're like a month away from the Bunkhouse, and have you seen the Bunkhouse before, Harper?
No.
You may have, but it's
just a battle royal, right? Where they're wearing street clothes.
Well, yeah, but they do it's a whole pay-per-view. So you got like 5 matches on it, or 4 matches. I can't remember. I watched it like maybe a year and a half ago or so, but I've, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Do we ever get the a Bunkhouse show here?
Are you in Dallas? You talking to me?
No,
he's talking about New Orleans.
Yeah.
They had to do, I don't remember, but I feel like it. They were doing them everywhere. So I would think they did them, because that goes back to 85. So they had to, Harper. I mean, I'd be shocked if they didn't at some point.
We all had them in Dallas, huh?
Well, we had UWF doing a Bunkhouse Battle Royal, First Blood Bunkhouse. That's the one what I saw. They didn't have one on that September show. It's just kind of a late in the year thing. So no, I don't remember one coming through. They were having such low cards here. And they kept coming, but they just putting on shit shows.
Well,
as far as attendance.
They did that a lot of places, Lance. That's why they had money troubles.
I'm looking up those results, trying to find it if they went to New Orleans while y'all are going on to the next thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know, Harper. That's a good question, man. I'm not sure. I feel like I want to just say it probably happened, but I don't really know if it did. So, but what I was so what they did in early '88 was they were having the bunkhouses, but they actually did the pay-per-view. So that's what we'll review in a few weeks. We're gonna do a watch along to the pay-per-view, and man, bring some topics to talk about, because it's not the greatest pay-per-view of all time. Let's just put it out there like that. But the finals of the Bunkhouse is on that pay-per-view. That's why they called it the Bunkhouse Stampede 88. All right, let's keep going. We got Ric Flair. He's going to come out here. He's going to cut a promo as Lance is looking it up for us. Here we go.
Heavyweight champion Ric Flair, one of the original 4 horsemen, J.J. Dillon. And Ric Flair is going to defend his World Heavyweight Championship in just a little while against Freeburg Michael Hayes.
Well, it goes like this. And don't think for one second this has to be a mutual admiration society. I'm standing here with the best manager, the executive director of the greatest group of wrestlers in the world today, the Four Horsemen. James J. Dillon, he makes and he breaks champions just like that. When Ric Flair came along, Jim Dillon said, Nature Boy, you're the kind of man I like to stand next to. JJ, styles and profiles. The Nature Boy, styles and profiles. And no matter how much some of you people out there don't like the way it looks, you've got to learn to live with it, because the bottom line is I'm the best wrestler in the world today. And what I tell you is no fairy tale. I've walked that aisle now 5 times to bring you the most coveted trophy in this sport. I'm talking about the one and only World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. Ric Flair, synonymous with the world title. The Four Horsemen, the legendary group that makes and breaks wrestling promotions. We rule. Nikita Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors. The list is endless of talent that wants to be in the ring with us. Because when you're in the ring with us, it's a big payday, it's notoriety, it's prestige, unequaled in this sport. On this very program, in about 40 minutes, I'm going to step in the ring one more time. My first title defense in over 2 years on national television. And Michael Hayes, you like all the rest will find out why. Above all else, diamonds are forever. And so is Ric Flair, the best in this sport. Whether you like it or not, learn to love it, because David Crockett, it's the best thing going today.
Woo. They say the four.
All right, Harper, your thoughts on Ric Flair right there?
He's the man, bro.
Yeah, he is.
He's the fucking man. And it's hard to believe, like you said, it's been 2 years since he defended
That's because
title.
He became a company champion. He, he's not defended. 2 years earlier is October or December of '85. He defended, the last time he defended in World Class was October of '85 against Lance Von Erich's the last world class guy that he came in to fight. And then he another year, half a year until the middle of '88. He's still traveling world champion, just barely. He's going to go to Hawaii. He's going to go Kansas City, but he's basically just hitting those world championship those guys, WCW guys. So that's with that. I don't know what he means by the last time he was on national, because as I looked over the results, I'm like, who else showed matches from the arenas? That Lance Von Erich match was a Fort Worth show, and he knows Fort Worth was filmed. So I don't know if he that actual match was not filmed, but the show from Fort Worth, was shown on Saturday night. So I don't know if he means that, but it makes sense that he's saying 2 years.
It's 1987 and they're bending the fucking rules is what they're doing right there, because it's a technicality. He wasn't okay. He lost to Ronnie Garvin. They aired it on television. They showed it on television. So like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So like when he said that, I was like, I perked up, but I was like, that's the type of shit you said in 1987 because you can get away with it. You can't do that now. So no. Like, I'm laughing. I think it's funny. I wasn't mad. It was just, I laughed as soon as he said it. I was like, what? No, you defended it since then. What are you talking about? So, I mean, again, is he, I don't know. Is he saying he hadn't defended it in the studio? But I feel like he's defended it in the studio within the last 2 years. I just can't tell you who it was against. So I don't know, man. That's a weird one. I think it was Barry, wasn't it? Well, see, there you go. That's another good example. In what was it, January or February '87, he was on NWA Worldwide, because that's what we saw. That's where that footage was from, Harper. I think it was from Worldwide. Right. I don't think it was from Pro, but that was aired. So it was aired on. But if Worldwide isn't considered a national, I don't know, man. Like I said, he's just bending the rules there, which is fine, because most people back then, they didn't have fucking Google.com to look up if he was telling the truth or not. It was a different world. It was a better place. We just didn't have the tools and technology we have now. But anyway, I actually thought Rick was shooting when he said, I mean, I say shooting. I don't mean in a bad way, but when he said, how did he put it? Their group, meaning the Horsemen, are the best, and he says everybody wants to be in the ring with us because it's prestige and notoriety that gets them better paydays. That, I mean,
yeah,
on the money.
Show me the lie there. Okay. Anything else, Harper?
Nah.
Lance, what about you from Flair? Anything?
Well, nothing on Flair. I'll jump in real quick. Yeah, Baton Rouge got the a match, the show with the Bunkhouse Stampede on December 8th. So just a few days later after this, and won by Big Bubba. But it looks like it was a worldwide taping, and there's something. Cornette throws powder in Dusty's eyes. I think that was the big angle of the show. There's not much else. Road Warriors 52-second match, and Sting defeating somebody in 36 seconds. So there's not much.
That sucks.
I bet you if I have that episode of Worldwide, thank you, Tim Moretti, longtime BTT Hall of Famer out there. If I have that episode in Worldwide, I'm gonna look. It's gonna be on that, is what I'm saying. That Bunkhouse. So I'm gonna look it up. Who knows? All right, Lance, I appreciate that. So it did go to Baton Rouge got one, New Orleans didn't in '87. Okay, we will go. Arn and Tully defeated Nelson Royal and Italian Stallion as well. We were watching along right here. Harper, anything from that match or nothing?
No.
Lance, anything from you?
No, keep going.
I figured so much. We will go now to Arn and Tully, and JJ is with them. So here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, now with me, JJ Dillon, the World Tag Team Champions, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson. Looks like the Four Horsemen.
I'll tell you what it looks like to me. It looks like the Horsemen got more hardware than true value. I'm talking about the World Tag Team Champions, the World Heavyweight Champion. Congratulations, boys. Thank you, JJ. You know what it is? There's a lot of people that believe in their hearts that we're the baddest and we're the toughest. But in the record books and the marquees, from one end of the world to the other, you got to have this before you're the baddest, before you're the best, before your name is at the top of all the lists. And if you don't have this, you're second best at the very best. And don't you forget it. David Crockett, what you would like, what your brother would like, being the NWA. And rest assured, Jim Crockett Promotions is the NWA. You would like on the tag team situation for there to be parity. By parity, I mean any one of 10 teams on any given night can take these from the Horsemen. If you had it that way, you would have what is the ideal situation in all of sports. But the only way you're going to have parity, David Crockett, is to take a year out of our life and send the Horsemen on an extended vacation. Because the bottom line is, there's a lot of great teams, fantastic teams in the NWA, but they're one octave below the Horsemen. You see, we don't care anything about doing endorsements. We don't like to be movie stars. Well, we are wrestlers. We achieved our notoriety, and rest assured, when we walk in a shopping mall, it might as well be Johnny Carson. We achieved our notoriety through wrestling in the ring. We don't mind sweating. We don't mind sacrificing. You see, stars are in Hollywood. Stars are in the sky. What the Horsemen are, the reason we are the elite, is whether we got the flu, whether we got an injury, whether we miss a plane, somehow we show up and we give 110% every night of our life. So when we tell you we're the Horsemen and we're the elite, believe it, because that's what we put our credibility on. You know, what is it, Double A? Diamonds are forever, and so are the Horsemen. Yeah!
All right, fans, let's go to the ring for more action.
Bruh.
Go ahead, Harper.
That badge. What the fuck's he wearing that for?
They're both wearing it.
Yeah.
Whoever else is interviewing down, Tony's got one on too.
Oh shit!
Is did they get that from the police department that night or something?
That was like a little toy, a toy badge from the fucking Dollar Tree.
I don't know what that is.
And notice JJ's all into all these interviews, but coming up, it's gonna be a little different on the next one.
Yeah, buddy. That's why we're gonna play it.
You know those belts? I don't know. What do y'all think of those belts compared to the ones, the Rock and Roll War? I like those so much more. They're so classic. These just kind of seem, generic. Compared to those others. I always thought those others, with the eagle, kind of jumped out.
Yeah.
You mean these tag belts right here?
Yeah, I'm not into these. I like the ones that were before this.
See, I think I like these, the ones that aren't totally currently have. I do like the way the current ones look,
okay.
and not the old ones. I didn't hate the old ones. Don't get me wrong. That's not me slighting the old ones, but I feel like I remember these more, and by these meaning the ones that they debuted in '87. So I like these.
All right.
Yeah.
Which ones you like, Harper?
I prefer these, to be honest.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a modern belt, but it's not stupid looking.
Yeah, like some of the belts you see today, where you're like, that shit looks dumb.
Yeah.
You like the old ones, though, Lance?
That's a belt that could be used today. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Good. I just those Eagle ones were a thing, in the territories and stuff and around. So, and I even Bruno Sammartino had one with an eagle on it. I just kind of classic, but I got you, because the world title looked a lot like this. The world title that Vader had, didn't it? It looks a lot like this belt.
Right. The WCW one.
That international looking shit. That
the flags on it.
No, the one that Ron Simmons held too. You talking about that one?
Yeah.
I hated that fucking belt, man. Y'all like that belt?
I can't think of which one you're talking about.
You talking about the one Vader had it at a time? Yeah, Vader had it at a time, and not the big gold belt. I know which one y'all talking about. Yeah, I hated that belt. I don't know.
Oh, it's too round. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yes, I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not big on that one.
Yeah. Are these still the NWA belts that they use today, though? That the NWA is currently using?
I think they went back to the retro looking belts, didn't they?
Okay, I don't know. That's why I was asking. I haven't. I'm not sure, but
that's a good question. I don't know.
Lance will do Doc's job while we go to the next segment. Lance will try to. Lance will.
I don't know about belt. I've got all the match results for every human, but I don't know about belts. I'll look here. I'll see.
No, I'll just.
Somebody should do a better belt site. Those belt people are a group onto their own. I respect you, belt people. Don't come after me. It's just, man, when you see that memorabilia rooms with all those belts that these people have, it's out of control.
Harper says that all the time. He likes looking at that shit, but he would never buy it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, somebody just sent me pictures. One guy just got an IWGP, a guy I know here locally. He sent me pictures, and it looks fantastic. But I'm just not going to do it. And
yeah, that's not the same belt. I'm looking at it right now.
As the current NWA ones?
Yeah, the current one. It reminds me of the '80s WWE belt, like the one like Demolition and all had.
Really?
Yeah, it's got the globe in the middle, and it's blue, and it says "World" in red.
Huh. Okay.
It looks good.
Oh, with the eagle.
Right.
Yeah, with those points. A lot of people say that those points. There were belts that had bigger points than that, like the old junior championship. They said people hated putting that in their luggage and stuff, and they break those. These don't stick out that much, but yeah, I don't know about those. It's kind of like got a lot going on on that belt.
Yeah, I know one of our patrons, man, Jeff Jewett. He's been a long time patron. Man, he's got a hell of a collection. Like, anytime I see pictures of his collection, I'm like, shit. I wish I had a house where I could put that museum in, because he's got he's got the action figures, the belts, anything we wanted as kids, Harper, he's fucking got. It's freaking fabulous.
Dude, someone, a friend of mine gave me a bag of those WWE figures that he had at his house, but they're beat to shit, right? The fucking paint's off. I want to see if I can fucking restore them.
The dog's been chewing on them.
Yeah, well, the paint is just totally off. I'm like, there's got to be a way where I can repaint these fucking things.
There's got to be, because I mean, there's got to be a way to do it. Yeah, because the paint on those sons bitches wore down, man. The way he threw those things around as kids, man.
I remember I would put the boots to them, right? You would sit there and like, and the paint would just like rub off on their face, like, fuck.
The main of those things that was sad about those things, dude. Those things were weapons.
Dude, they were. Bro, it's just imagine like humming the fucking one of those things at somebody's head.
That's what I'm saying.
Chinese star.
Right.
Sticking the drywall.
Imagine, like, okay, just taking Hogan in that LGN figure and pitching that at somebody, and they would just sitting on the sofa, and you just hummed it at them. That would be like throwing a freaking. Dude. It's like what?
A phone receiver. How you could kill somebody with a phone receiver from the 80s.
Dude, it would be like damn near throwing a brick at somebody, man.
God, and they had to make so much money on those things because it's just a big piece of fucking rubber.
It's a big piece of rubber, and the damn
with some
things
cheap
was like
fucking paint on it.
And they were like $12 or $13 in frickin' 86. Yes.
The only ones I got were when they went to the fucking clearance rack.
Yeah, me too.
They were so expensive.
The bitches ended up at like Zayre's in New Orleans or something.
Yes.
And they got clearance shit. Yeah, me too.
And it was always a shitload of Jesse Ventura's and Jimmy Hart's.
I've got somebody's chewed up. I've got somebody's chewed up Jimmy Hart in there in the closet in there with all the magazines and everything. Some Jimmy Hart one that I somehow got through the years. It's all been chewed up. Everything.
Yeah, man. Katrina took mine, man. I don't know. They were in my mom's house, and when the storm hit, and they were cleaning out the house, I couldn't tell you where those action figures ended up, but I had those and a few of the AWA ones, but. Yeah, those are gone. So, all right, let's keep going. We got Nikita. We just saw him defeat Mark Starr, and then Nikita cuts a promo, and I don't know what he's yelling about and talking about. Harper, did you know what he was saying?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. He's pissed off because he wasn't on a Learning the Ropes TV show. That's what he's bitching about.
Lance, anything from you on Nikita?
No, that's it. That's it. I don't, man, I wish you said learn the ropes. That had to be a little earlier than this, right? Because Garvin was on it.
Garvin was on it. The Road Warriors were.
Yeah, Garvin's on it with the broke leg.
Yeah.
And then the Rock and Roll Express, they were playing the guitar because I found the scene where he's playing a guitar the night we got home from seeing Ricky Morton in Fort Worth. Mike,
I used to watch that show.
Yeah, of course. I've got one or two on tape. One girl's collection that I acquired and stuff. Got all her got that on there and stuff. It sucks to get a girl's collect. She recorded tons of wrestling and tons of interviews, but of NWA, but she loved Rick Rude, so she wouldn't show anything but Rick Rude matches. And then the rest of the time, she was recording what a 16-year-old girl would like, tons of Baryshnikov and Perfect Strangers. And I gotta fight through all that stuff while I'm trying to find cool stuff. I hate that show. Oh, and Silver Spoons. Don't forget Silver. Oh man,
Jesus.
Those fucking tapes. But they're gold. I mean, they have all the Legends of World Class and all that. But I've got to, I'm like, oh shit, this Balky crap. Oh, that's the worst.
You remember fucking Balky? Don't be ridiculous.
I sent her a tweet yesterday because it was the anniversary of the first episode I saw on Twitter, and I sent it to her. I was like,
yes,
fucking
I
show.
saw that.
He was actually on an episode of Ray Donovan a couple of years ago where he's in a porn house watching jacking off to the girls behind the curtain and stuff, and Ray Donovan goes in there and pulls him outside to take him off somewhere. And I'm like, I saw it in the credits. I'm like, oh man, whatever the hell his name is. And I was going, wait, what a minute, that was him.
I'm letting y'all finish that way. No, I'm letting y'all finish because I'm over here popping over Balky because I remember that.
I've always fucking wondered how lucky that asshole was to get that role, because he had just that one little role from fucking Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
And this.
And yeah. What else has he ever fucking done?
Right.
Stuff. Yeah.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah,
let's move on from Balky as Kevin Sullivan is in there murdering Rick Ryder.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ, dude. This poor motherfucker.
Well, Harper, tell us about it. As Sullivan just flings him around like a rag doll.
He's doing his Garvin impersonation and just kicking the shit out this guy.
You know what's funny is, Sullivan's not a big guy, but he's just manhandling this dude. And this dude ain't small either. That's the thing. Anyway, Harper, what else you got from it?
He just kicks the shit out this poor bastard.
Lance, anything from you on it?
All these matches, nobody's just setting anybody down gently. I mean, they're releasing when these guys are just splat on the mat. And yeah, he's short as shit. Oh, but look how wide he is.
Oh, he's a
big old freaking legs and stuff.
He was short, but he was a powerful dude.
I walked around. I was leaving Comic-Con. I was leaving Wrestle when it was here, the WrestleCon, and I thought, man, I wonder. And I walked back over there, and he was there, and I was like, man, I got to get a picture of this guy. The magazines made this guy a star to me because, of course, we weren't in Florida, but the magazines made him a huge star to me. So I was glad to get a picture. He was pretty cool. I just talked to him 2 seconds.
Yeah, he was. I met him there too. He was a real nice guy, man. Approachable, cool dude though. But he beats the piss out of Rick Ryder here. Gets the 1-2-3, knocks him out with actually a Garvin knockout punch, pretty much. From there we go to actually he stomped on him. Let me take that back. He literally stomped on that bastard. From there we go to Lex Luger and J.J. Dillon, and I guess the point here is. You can't see is JJ's rolling of the eyes throughout this promo as Lex talks. So let me play it, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen, another one of the Four Horsemen, Lex Luger with J.J. Dillon.
David Crockett, there's a lot of discussion being thrown around about the aftermath of Starrcade 87. There was a lot of great athletes involved. A lot of great matches were won and lost. But the bottom line is that the Four Horsemen delivered. Arn Tully delivered. Ric Flair delivered. And Lex Luger stood toe-to-toe and did battle like he has never done before. With the legend. JJ. And yes, you've proven to me, Dusty Rhodes, you are the legend. The legend himself. I had that match in control. So what comes out of Starrcade? The fact is this. That Lex Luger is ready. I've proven to myself to establish myself as a dominant force in professional wrestling today. As an athlete, Lex Luger, the total package, has no equal. You see, it's time for me to step out of the pack, to stand on my own, to take no one's shadow, because I am the athlete of the year 2000. I am the man with all the physical tools. It's time for the total package to fulfill his potential, to fulfill my destiny. And that is to be the best that this sport has ever seen. The next decade will be the sphere of dominance. The superstar standing right here before you, looking you in the eye right now, that this sport has ever seen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lex Luger.
Harper, you go first.
Man, JJ's the main ingredient to all this shit.
Yeah, he's really letting on that something's, in the works.
Yeah, he's just like, are you serious, man? Oh, what? What the fuck?
Yeah, Lex doesn't know his role, the sphere of dominance.
And I love how Lex just totally no-sells it, and it just,
Well, he's too arrogant to know what's happening behind him.
Right.
Like, he's just like, I'm this, I'm that, it's all about him. And, this is, what's awesome about this promo is we watch JJ just rolling his eyes and slapping himself in the face. Listen to this. JJ says a million words without saying a damn thing.
Yes.
Yeah, good point. Good one.
Mm-hmm.
He's not saying nothing, but his actions speak volumes, and we just got to stay tuned. But when you watch this and watch JJ, you're just like, look at this shit. Because he's so good. JJ's just so damn good. But I just really enjoy JJ, looking at him like, will you please shut what they call the fuck up? That's the look he's giving him. Lance, what else you got?
No, you covered it all, man.
Yeah, man,
that's great. I didn't know the timeline. I looked at it and I was watching this, and I'm looking at the back, looking at him squinting and worrying and putting his hand in his face. So I had to look it up and see how close we were to the switch. And so I saw we were right up against it, because I thought, now this is strange. I jumping right in. I didn't know we were this close to the Lex's turn.
Look at. Okay, we're watching it. We're screen shared. Look at JJ, the way he's standing and leaning and looking like this motherfucker here.
Yeah, because if you notice, in every one of the other promos he did, he's looking straight at the camera, and he's fucking JJ.
Yeah, he's into it.
Right. And this one, he's just like, shut the fuck up, bro. Are you done? Are you fucking done?
It's great.
Good stuff. All right. So obviously more is coming as we continue the road with JJ and what's going on. We go to a singles match with Bobby Eaton. He defeats Rex King. It is a lengthy match. Corny was doing a lot of talking on commentary. Lance, did you have anything from the match?
No, nothing.
Yeah, I say lengthy, because, I mean, it wasn't like ridiculously long, but it was longer than I thought it needed to be. But they're filling up time. Mike Rotunda. Go ahead, Harper.
I like this line when he says his heart is as black as Harlem at midnight.
Do you have a timestamp or no?
No, I just wrote it down.
I missed that.
Yeah, I missed it too. It's hard when Cornette's on commentary, because he goes the whole time, and he says so much good stuff, you're bound to miss something. All right, so then after that we go to Mike Rotunda, who he's got Kevin Sullivan out there. He takes on Thunderfoot 1. Now Sullivan was trying to get Rotunda's attention before the match, but during the match Sullivan is on commentary talking about Rotunda. He's criticizing Rotunda's moves. Near the end, Sullivan gets Rotunda's attention and gives him an aggressive pep talk. I mean, this is the beginnings of what we know is going to be. Harper, I was throwing it at you, but what we know it's going to be the
Varsity Club.
There you go. Yeah. So they're doing it slow, though. I mean, it's they're kind of teasing it, so we'll see that for the next couple of weeks.
Is he still the Florida champion here?
Yeah, he's still Florida champion.
Okay.
I forget when that shit goes bye-bye.
Yeah, he's still Florida champion. On the 8th when they have that match. And
he's got the belt
there
on.
it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't bring it up, I don't think.
They don't mention it on commentary. I didn't.
Yeah, they mention it. Yeah.
Oh, they did. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I know on the graphic they'll show I thought they showed. He's got the belt on. He takes it off, but they'll mention he's there. There it is, Florida heavyweight champion.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So anyway, he wins, and they're planting the seeds with this whole thing with Sullivan and recruiting him and brainwashing him, however you want to look at it. But again, it's the beginnings of the Varsity Club, so it's I don't know. I remember it. It was it felt like it was a fun thing. Shout out to Disrespectfully Classy Marky Blassie, who is one of our large patron contributors, and he and I were talking about the Varsity Club via email this week. So there you go, Mark. Shout out. Thank you very much. Rotunda near the end, I don't even have what happens. Does Rotunda win? I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Here.
He goes nuts.
Why did they make him a fucking sailor?
Well, he's going to wear the Syracuse. No, that's when he's the York Foundation. This is Varsity Club, so he's going to be wearing that Syracuse.
Yeah.
And then they've already mentioned, Sullivan already mentioned on commentary here that Steiner had gone to Michigan, so they're laying the groundwork for that. Then he also mentions how Dr. Death went to OU, but Dr. Death's never with them, is he? Am I losing my mind? No. But when he's a sailor with the York Foundation.
I've always wondered, it's like, how did he all of a sudden become a sailor?
Michael Rotunda, when they start Thomas Rich and Richard Morton.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Richard Morton.
I definitely saw it. They had a house show in Dallas, like on the day after Christmas, when Richard Morton during that phase. Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, so I'm not gonna play it. They go to a promo. It's Ricky Morton Harper and I have heard this promo 9 million times. Morton,
yeah.
he just gave the promotion and the fans a pep talk, but that was it. And rock and roll's here to stay, not here to play. Rock and roll's forever, as Robert Gibson looks at us with one of his eyes. Shout out to the eye of Gibson on Twitter. What's going on, Hoot? And anyway, any thoughts on this, Lance?
No, keep on rolling. I mean, they're great,
nice.
but I've seen enough of them through the years.
Harper, I don't know if we can. There's like literally nothing else we can say about them. We've seen them now for 4 years.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we go then to the main event, and man, Ric Flair comes out and he's styling and profiling. It's him versus Michael P.S. Hayes for the World Heavyweight title. NWA titles on the line. A couple of things before I throw it to both of you. No one chops like Flair. No one sells backdrops and begs for mercy and powders out the ring like Flair. He did that a million times back in the day, and I know people said that he did the same thing over and over. I never got tired of it. I mean, the whole first half of this match was Flair stalling. I'm not complaining. It just stating what the obvious was, and it was what it was for its time. Lance, I'll throw it to you first. Thoughts on this match?
I gotta agree. Exactly. You know, it's a Flair match, and that's what he did. You know, it's perfect. He's great.
You notice that when Rick came out, he had real fucking cops.
Yeah.
He didn't have no Barney Fife.
No.
He made sure he had the real deal.
You know, the thing about this, let me jump in on this. You know, Hayes is going to feud here with Flair in December and January and February. He's going to have, or mainly January, you're going to have a ton of matches with Flair. And then he ups and comes back to Dallas. I mean, he's a week later. He was only off a week, and he's back in Dallas. And when he came back in Dallas, I was looking at him, he's like, wow, you know, he's really in shape. Maybe he's serious about music, and maybe, you know, he wants to really do that and stuff. Because, I mean, I thought in my head, I'm thinking, okay, did he have back problems? Has he taken time off? He's really slimmed down. And then I look at the results, and the fact is he's going 2 months straight with Flair. So no wonder he's in good shape.
Yeah, it was like being on a freaking treadmill nonstop 24 hours a day, because he's in there with Flair working these long matches. I kept forgetting. I was actually going to ask you tonight when he goes back to Dallas, because I swore, like, as we kept watching him in 87, I was like, he goes back in December. And I was like, that's not true.
Nah, mid-February.
So, yeah, it happens in 80. I kept thinking it happened in late 88, but, yeah, so it's coming. He's going back. So on to this match. Flair puts Hayes in the figure four. They do the old gimmick where Flair uses the rope for leverage. It takes 3 times before the ref catches it and breaks it. This was the first match during this episode where it's not the first match where they're into it, but the fans actually started to get into this thing. The finish, Hayes sunsets flips Flair. Flair is in the pin attempt. They cut to black as the ref counts to 2. There's no social media, no YouTube,
Nope.
you know, no goddamn.
Come back in 7 days, motherfucker. You'll find out.
That's basically what they did us right here. We didn't have YouTube. We couldn't look this shit up nowhere, so we were screwed, and that's all it was. Other than that, I'll throw it to Harper. Harper, what were your thoughts on this match? I thought this was good.
Man, this is the kind of shit that used to make me hate people that had cable when I was a kid.
Like Lance. Lance had cable.
I did have cable.
You know, because, I mean, they get to watch good shit like this every week. They can just turn on the TV and just there it is.
It is true. It was fun. And, you know, Flair had been talking on TBS for years coming in. And, you know, they kept him special in those early days. He wouldn't be on every episode, or he might just show up at the end to cut an interview. And it made it so special that, you know, he was in studio that day, the world champion. But no, this is great. You know, they hadn't had too many really matches through the years until it came to this. They'd had a couple when Hayes had left Dallas for a couple of seconds in early '84. I think they had a match in Florida. They, you know, through the years they could always bitch about Flair because he had lost their 6-man title for him in Dallas when Hayes had lost the loser leave town match. But no, it's great. They just they screw you on the end, just the old time ending.
Dude, they they screwed the fuck out of us at the end, man.
Yep.
Like, you're watching it. I'm gonna fast forward it on the Patreon video. If you're not a patron, become one. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. It really helps support the show. You get the world-class shows for as little as $2 a month that Lance and I do every 2 weeks. Plus, Lance and I have some Q&A episodes coming up. So if you got questions for us and you're at the $5 tier or above, send it to us, bookingtheterritory@gmail.com, and we're going to do question episodes or Q&A episodes. Also, you get the JCP NWA shows at the $5 tier. I'm talking about the pay-per-views and Clash of Champions that are coming up in 1988. So send all that stuff in question-wise, but become a patron and check it out. Go to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT and support us and all these great shows that we're putting out. Lance, you're doing well tonight, man. So I think, Doc, we might have to kick him to the curb as we're watching the end of this match, man. Harper, I don't know what you think.
Yeah.
Don't stir the pot. I'm just here.
Doc who, bro?
I'm just trying to fill in here.
Whatever, bro. Doc
Michael,
who?
I was watching Michael Hayes do the old spot on Flair, throwing him off the top rope, and I'm laughing because that was a move that Jerry Lawler didn't want to do with Flair because he was so short.
I'd say, man, Hayes they're out there working their ass off, man. They're going a long time as we try to get to the end of this thing where we actually see the sunset flip. Here it comes. So yeah. Hayes blocks a punch. Sunset flips Flair. Flair eventually goes down. I'm like, oh shit, man, we're really rocking and rolling. Are we even going to see the finish here?
Yep.
Nope. 2, and they go to black. Harper, what were your thoughts when that happened?
Imagine being a kid sitting there watching this, getting all into this shit, thinking this is it. This is when Flair loses the belt. Michael P.S. Hayes is going to be the champion. 1, 2, dump, and then a Tide fucking detergent commercial comes on or something. What the fuck?
Bro, look,
they just amped it up. You know, they just amped it up.
They cut to the fucking credits. They black out and go to the credits. We got hosed. What is this bullshit? If they did this nowadays, there would be a hashtag boycott WWE Network on fucking Twitter.
That'll be great, man. If they did that now.
But they do it today. They did it back then. And you know what we did? Shit, we got to make sure we tune in 7 days. Right. We got to see how this ends.
And I guarantee you made sure next week you were at home, sitting there looking at the clock, waiting for this shit to come on just to find out what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I'm an expert at NASCAR because I always watch the last 5 minutes of Motor Week Illustrated, waiting on this to come on every Saturday. I mean, everybody remembers Dave Despain on Motor Week Illustrated. He does a freaking show still 30 years later, but I turned it on those 5 minutes of that every week to turn on the old show on TBS.
Yeah, they screwed us here. So we don't get to see the results, so we're not going to tell you what happened.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. All right. So that's how they go off air as the credits roll. So Lance, you know what we normally do here? We choose someone to get the Rolex award, and we choose someone gets the Rolex, and then we rate the episode. So I'll go first.
I'll go ahead.
I'm going to give my Rolex to Arn Anderson. He's probably got 50 of them by now, but I got to give it to Arn. He's so believable. Rick was great too, but Arn's getting my Rolex. Harper, who's getting your Rolex?
It's JJ.
I almost went there because JJ was so damn good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give mine to JJ.
Lance, who you got in mind?
Well, I was going to say JJ, but I'll go on with Sullivan since he talked a lot and they're starting a big thing. I'll go with him, but it's kind of tied with JJ because he did so much by doing so little in that last interview.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
they don't do anything that subtle. You never see that today. He's all in the background. Those others, life is good, and then that one, he's, holy shit, the world's ending. What the hell's Lex saying? But it's still, he's being subtle, but he's, you can see his face. It's just tremendous. I think it's great.
You know what made it work even that much better is back then, those promos weren't 10 and 15-minute marathons either. They were, 2 minutes or less. And I feel like JJ just doing what he was doing as Lex rattled on for, a minute and a half. I think it made it that much more impactful because he's just like, well, this guy just shut up so that less is more thing right there, I just thought really worked, man. JJ was really, really good there, so I gotta agree. All right, we're gonna rate this thing. This ain't Starcade, Harper, but
I'll take it, bro. I'll take this 7 days a week.
This is, I feel like we had the Road Warriors, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair promos, Arn and Tully, JJ. I'm giving this an A+. Michael Hayes and Ric Flair at the end, long match. This shit's getting an A+ for me. What about you?
Yeah, an A+.
Lance,
this
A+. What do you give it, Lance?
I'll give it an A. I'll give it a few more minutes of that Michael Hayes, any kind of ending, or not just ending it at that point. That really pissed me off. I'd rather have Barry and Zbyszko at the end and finish it off, but that's just being picky. It's an incredible roster. I mean, shit, every single segment had a huge star, somebody we consider huge.
Yeah, this was damn good. All right, so that was this was a damn good episode. I really enjoyed this, and as you can tell, obviously the turn of Lex is definitely on the way. So we got that coming at us. Again, before we get out of here, I want to remind everyone: become a patron. It's tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. We're really having a lot of fun on those Patreon episodes. There are a few different tiers now, but if you want the world-class shows, you're definitely going to get them at the $2 tier, plus the pre-shows and miscellaneous shenanigans we do. And then at the $5 tier, which is what we just added, you're going to get the Jim Crockett Promotions pay-per-views going into 88, the Clash of the Champions going into 88, along with the Q&A episodes that Lance and I are doing also as well. So if you got questions for I on World-Class, Mid-South, NWA, whatever, just send them in, bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to use our Amazon referral link. It's tinyurl.com/BTT Amazon. It is a great way to support this show on an ongoing basis. You don't spend anything extra, and the show gets a little kickback in return, so I can pay the bills for the hosting service and Skype and everything else we use for the show. Again, it's tinyurl.com/BTT Amazon. Give that link to the wives, girlfriends, hoes, and side pieces in your life and tell them to use it. Harper, make sure you give it to your hoes and side pieces.
Yes.
Not that, the link is what I'm talking about.
Hey now.
Dick, dog.
Wrap it up, Harper. Please wrap it up. Don't take life by the horns, man. There's too much out there. But Amazon.com, tinyurl.com/BTT Amazon. And don't forget, shirts are available at the Pro Wrestling Tees store. If you just go to facebook.com/bookingtheterritory, get your Pro Wrestling. Click the link that says, what does it say? Shop now, I think is what it says. And the shirts are there. Also, check the links in the show description. The T Public store, the Pro Wrestling T store is all there. And then before we get out of here, also check out our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Murata and Michael Quinn every single Monday. The northern version of BTT, slightly classier and a little bit more professional as they give their take on the northern side, the WWF history. And then check out also ROH's Brian Malonis and Mike Crockett on the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing each and every Monday as well. On Monday mornings, their show drops. They do a little current. They do a little historical stuff as well. Still a good show nonetheless, so check them out. Lance, I guess we should, before I throw it to Harper, because I want you to do the Wildcat plug. But Lance and I have to make a small announcement, so this will give you time to look up the date, because I know I always throw it to you like, what? Lance, let's tell the people now. We're recording this on March the 27th, 2019. This will drop on April the 4th. You and I are losing our minds. We're going to do a live YouTube show after WrestleMania on April the 7th, correct?
Yeah, short and sweet. We'll just hit a couple of points, and we'll see. This is all Mike's idea. Mike's driving me crazy right now. He just had me watch an episode of World of Sport, which I would have never lived my whole fucking life without watching, but it actually was okay, and it was about 1,000 times better than I thought it would be once I got into it, and everybody should check it out. You will be shocked that you enjoy it, because I never wanted to watch any of that stuff, but this was okay.
Shout out to GA WrestleNut on Twitter, BTT Hall of Famer. He's messing with you. But that also, if you're in the $5 tier, actually if you're in the $7 tier and above, you can request a show. If you go to Patreon, .com/bookintheterritory. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Or email me.
I'm gonna need to. I need a freaking menu to keep up with these tiers. Gee,
I know, man. I think we got too many. We're at the kick. We may have to trade back on some or kick back on some. But anyway, we just did a review of World of Sport as well for all the $5 tiers and above, so you can get that as well. But WrestleMania, Lance and I will do a YouTube live afterwards. We're gonna keep it short because first off, I'm not watching that whole show. I kind of want to see the fillet of fish, like Harper says, the women's match. I do want to see Brock and Seth, and I do want to see Kofi hopefully win the title. Shout out to at Fritz Von Malky, who does not want to see Kofi win on Twitter, but I kind of want to see that. So I will watch those matches, but there's no way, Lance, 6 to 7 hours and take notes on that? No, we're going to keep. So that means our post show is going to be like maybe 30 minutes tops, but it'll be live on YouTube. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's tinyurl.com/BTT YouTube. And that way, and put the notifications on. That way, when we go live that Sunday night, hopefully that thing doesn't go to midnight. God damn, Lance. Can you imagine?
Fuck.
Oh, man.
Fuck that.
Like when they were in Dallas. Remember the Dallas show, Lance?
I don't want to talk about it. Man, that was the worst. I never want to go again unless it's maybe in Vegas in a few years or something. But it's just such a beating.
I will never go again. That was way too much.
And there's people that think we're crazy because there's people that go every year and travel and do it all. But man, my couch is just too comfortable.
Dude, yeah. Harper had free tickets last year, and how much did it take for you to actually go even with free tickets?
Oh shit! It's that kicked my ass, man.
Was exhausted.
It's the worst.
I didn't get home till like midnight, 1 o'clock in the fucking morning.
I know, and you were there in your gimmick too, in your freaking hard body Harper freaking wrestling outfit. He had them damn shoes on that I know were uncomfortable. Kids were falling asleep.
Yeah, bro, kids are falling asleep. I was falling asleep, like it was legit.
It was rough, pal. That's the best way to put it. All right, Harper. Hit us with the. You got the Wildcat date in front of you.
April 13th, dog.
Where's it at?
At the Meisler Sportatorium Superdome at Meisler Middle School.
7 p.m. bell time.
Yeah, 7 p.m. bell time.
Doors open at 6.
Tournament, man.
Are y'all gonna do the whole tournament that night, or you don't know?
No, I mean it says round 1, so I assume it's the first round. I hope Lou and Perry lose. I hope don't even show up.
How many teams do you have in it? Just 1 or 2?
She got to wait and find out, bro. What are you fucking you Mark fuck?
Okay. All right. So as Harper insults me, go to wildcatsports.com or go to facebook.com /Wildcat Sports, or just search Wildcat Sports and Entertainment on Facebook for more information on the card. But 7 p.m. bell time, doors open at 6 p.m. Harper's treating me like shit, and I don't really appreciate it. He's trying to make up for Doc tonight. He's playing heel, you know how he does. But in any case, this was a fun show. So Harper, you got anything else to plug before we get out of here?
No, that's it.
Lance, what about you, man? Anything to plug?
No, I hope I was barely passable. That's all I'm aiming for.
Shit.
Thanks for having me on.
Doc who? We got a replacement. I think everybody's going to be down with this. So anyway,
he's a maintenance booker.
Doc's out of here, man. We're done. Doc's done, man. Doc's out of here. But if you want more of Lance and his historical perspective on world classes, he and I go through each week of the old, I call it the Sunday show because that's when it came on in New Orleans, but it's the show from the Sportatorium. If you want more on that show, as he and I cover each and every week of it. We're into 84 now. Kerry is about to win the NWA World title from Ric Flair. So we've gone through the height of I call it the height of the Freebird feud at this point with the Von Erichs, although it's still going on. The height really kind of happened to me in 83, but there's a lot more there. So there's a lot of meat on the bone. So check out the world class shows. Again, it's you get those for $2 a month. tinyurl.com/Patron BTT, and Lance does a great job there. So for Mike and Lance and Hardbody Harper, Harper, hit that tagline and get us out of here.
Book it, bitch.
Before we get out of here this week, I just wanted to mention a couple of important things. One being, yes, the new Patreon service at the $5 tier. Remember, you're going to get the Jim Crockett promotions, pay-per-views, and Clash of Champions in 1988. You will also get Lance and I's Q&A sessions that we get from listeners such as yourself. So if you have questions, submit them at bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. I thought about using Twitter, but it would be just too many places for me to look for questions. So please use bookingtheterritory@gmail.com for the Q&A type episodes that Lance and I will do. And remember, the questions can be NWA related, Mid-South related, WCW related, with the stuff we've already covered. And what else was there? World Class, of course. Can't forget about World Class. And as I'm asking you to possibly bump up your Patreon tier, not that you have to, because if you just enjoy getting the world-class shows and the pre-shows and the video reviews, then stay at the $2 tier. It's it's fine. I understand, man. I wanted to offer a little bit more, and Lance and I wanted to offer, and Doc and Harper and I wanted to offer a little bit more for the higher level tier. So there you go. Also, I've said it the last couple of weeks. Over 2 years ago, we first started the Patreon service on Podbean. So, before we get out of here and mention a couple other things, I wanted to just, mention a couple of people that are either at the 2-year mark or near it, or have actually hit the 1-year mark as well. If I miss you, I apologize, but the 2-year anniversary patrons include Marty Howell, Boone Howard, Twit Dust, a.k.a. Dustin, Tim Morecci, the BTT Research Department and Hall of Famer, Wayne G., David DeVries, BTT Hall of Famer, Josh Warren, BTT Hall of Famer, Dan Verner, Coleman 822 is a Hall of Famer, K-Stone 9709, Frog Zeppelin, Voodoo Moon Baby, Mark Wilson at Thin Man Within, Sean Sparks, and at Thin Man Within is a Hall of Fame as well. Patron Sean Sparks, who is at Sparks Third Coast on Twitter, at Spyboy Sportscap. Alan, thank you for being a Hall of Famer. Drew FN Media, David Cameron, Chuck Erd 58, Slider 91 US Hall of Famer, Troy Anspaugh, the FXC, Jim Vinsky, Steven CG, T-Hog 94 Hall of Famer, SV Pageant Hall of Famer, Moondog, Gerald Green III Hall of Famer. And now I look, I'm sure I missed a name or two because of the move to Patreon. It's a little hard to track how long each member has been. It doesn't allow me to filter it the right way. But all of you out there, I believe if you're not at 2 years, you're close. So thank you very much. And many of you are still using the Podbean Patron service. So if you are, consider the move to Patreon, because, man, there's so much more Patreon offers. And I may be doing something special coming up. I'm just not sure if I can do it yet. But it related to if you make the switch. More news on that coming. If I missed you in this shout out for the 2-year Hall of Famers, just email me, bookingtheterritory@gmail.com, and I'll try to get you fitted into the next shout outs for the 2-year or the 1 year. Okay? So I appreciate that. Also, I want to shout out the Hall of Fame patrons: Kenny Byersdorf, Glenn Abbott at GA WrestleNut, Bobby Murray, Marlon Mueller, a.k.a. at Hess Pint Point. Can't forget Marlon's Twitter. Josh Warren, Everett Starr, Super Duper Hall of Famer Mike Childry, Super Duper Hall of Famer K_Row86, and Super Duper Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame Disrespectfully Classy Mark E. Blassie, Craig Norman, Johnny on Patreon, the great John Dean at YRC21, Josh Dunn, at Ryan and Auburn, good old Justin, Robert Smith, Joseph Ice, Tim Morecci, the Research Department, Adam Price, Brian Evans, Mark Wilson, Armando Martinez, David Jordan, Jesse Jacobs, Josh Fields, Chris Meyer, Gerald Green III, Mitchell Johnson, Mike Prue, Will Parker, Jeremy Bryant, Classy Alex, Slider 91 US, David DeVries, Frog Zeppelin, SV Pageant, Bill Salsa, Big Rich, God, I always mess this up. Sorry, Alan. At Spy Boy Sports Cap, Ari Miller 39, Dustin Roberts, Jay Shiny, Ruben Espinoza, Merciless Jones, Jesse Lucas, Chris Browning, Justin _Andretti, Coleman 822, Marty Howell, T-Hog 94. Thanks for being Hall of Fame patrons. Appreciate it. Hey, if you are at your 7th month or beyond, because at 7 months at the $9 level or above, you get a t-shirt. If I haven't reached out to you, email me, bookingtheterritory@gmail.com, and I will get it out to you ASAP. It's not on purpose. It's just the move to Podbean, Patreon, it's all messed up. So I can't always tell the exact month you're at. So, again, if you're at your 7th month, reach out to me. I'll get you out your t-shirt. Also, if you're at your 6th month or 12th month at $20 level, let me know. I'll get you out your next t-shirt, too. And I think that's it related to the T-shirts. If you're at the $9 level, so after you get your T-shirt at 7 months, you get another one once a year. So let me know, and I'll make sure I get you out your T-shirt too, each and every year, okay? And I think that's all I got. Oh, I want to shout out my buddy Mike Prue from the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. Mike and his buddy JV. They break it down a career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, month by month, weekly as well. They're currently in 1998. They go, they've gone back as far as 96, but they're currently in 98. Dive in, check them out. They are at the Bottom Line Cast on Twitter. You can listen to their show at iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Google Play. Just search Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, and you will find them. That's all I have. Thanks as always for being patrons. Appreciate it. You guys are the best. Couldn't do this show without you. And again, thanks to all the 2-year patrons and above, or 2-year anniversary patrons. We appreciate your patronage. I mean, you help make this show go. So as Hardbody Harper always says before he gets out of here, book it, bitch.